Morning, guys. I'm actually doing crackhead video of the day from home today. I got in last night. Um, I have a little bit of a family obligation for today, but I had made it a point to try and stay on the West Coast so I didn't struggle to get home for the holidays. Um, Honestly, I do cross country, typically out 2 weeks, and I hadn't really done the whole West Coast thing where you do regional, just West Coast. It's a little interesting. I budget or figured for myself, 5 to 800 miles a day, OTR cross country. And I got to tell you, 500 miles is tough to do in one day, West Coast. The speed limit out here is 55 in California. Everybody's going a little faster, but you're risking the ticket. And yeah, getting from Southern California to Northern California, including getting loaded, is tough. And so you got to price that a little bit better to still make your one day shot and still make a decent amount of money. Um, but I've noticed the rates aren't that great on the load boards out this way. Luckily, I have a dispatch service that gets me decent deals. I have a load for Monday. It's a truckload of beer. I guess beer is important because it's 192 miles, point A to point B, and my dispatcher got me 1580 for it. Everything else I see on the load boards is like half of that. I don't know if the load boards are going wonky because people are trying to get home, but I know a lot of you guys have that Amazon curiosity, especially in the Power Only group, and so I kind of wanted to show what's there. I actually saw some loads for $1.10 a mile yesterday. It was a little bit shocking, but I guess the load board does adjust to how we react to these loads. Anyway, so right now we have this set up anywhere to anywhere, just to get the basis of the widest loads, if you will. And there it just refreshed. Let me make sure I have the refresh on, or off, I mean, so it doesn't keep interrupting. I have it set to payout for some reason. And so today the lowest is $1.21, which, you know, so it is. But here's a load from Georgia coming into California, Riverside, and it's $2,600. That's scraping the bottom of the barrel there, at least in my opinion. Here's another load coming from Memphis to Riverside. That actually is it's a UPS distribution center. I've been there before. This load was actually locked. It is very difficult to find a load from Memphis, Tennessee to Southern California. So they tend to lock those. But there's a few of them. And so there's probably a contractual thing going on right now between Amazon and UPS. You guys need to remember, Amazon is now a broker. When you're hauling Amazon freight, you're not always hauling Amazon freight anymore. Amazon now does, they broker. No other way to put it. So if I'm a manufacturer, if I'm a shipper, I can go to Amazon's load board, this exact load board, but from a shipper perspective, and you input what you have, what your cargo is, Amazon gives you a quote, and if you accept it, it appears on these load boards. And so I did once do a power only load from Dallas to Los Angeles. It was a UPS trailer. I took it to that exact location. I dropped a loaded trailer and brought back a loaded trailer, which was unique because when you do power only loads for Amazon, it tends to be, you know, a loaded one way, empty coming back, or vice versa. In other words, you're only loaded the one way, and then you're bringing back an empty to replenish the fleet where you picked up the loaded. In the case of Amazon, UPS, that particular case was a loaded going both ways, and they were heavy for Amazon loads. Typically, your Amazon loads are 10 to 15,000 pounds. These trailers were hand stacked and filled to the gills. I want to say it was 36,000 pounds going one way and 26 coming back. It's been a few months. Anyway, so those are the loads from Memphis to Riverside. There's, again, cheap, but Illinois to Ontario. There's another Illinois to Ontario, Indiana to Ontario. There's quite a bit coming into Ontario, but boy, is that cheap. There's a Teams run, a tour, as Amazon would call it, $127. Guys, comment below. What do you guys think of these team loads, and Amazon prices them cheaper? In my opinion, if I'm going to put two guys and crowd them in a truck, because let's face it, a 60, a 72 inch, unless you get into the 100+ inch sleepers, it gets crowded. I've got a 60-inch sleeper. It's a stand-up. I run by myself, and I feel crowded. Comment below what you guys think. Shouldn't a team setup pay better by the mile? I mean, aren't you paying almost like an expedited service? If Amazon's requesting team, it's because they're expecting the truck not to stop. They're expecting additional service. And I think $127 just really doesn't work. Here's another one, $129. It's a tour out of the Illinois area. There's one in Tennessee for $131, $131, $133. I'm not sure why this one's opened up. I haven't opened any yet. But yeah, comment below on that. I do have that curiosity, what your guys' thoughts are. Why are team loads so cheap? I think they should be paying better. I do have one truck that's a team operation, and we do sometimes take loads that are a little bit cheaper coming west, but that's because we're trying to grab a $12,000 team load leaving California, and a good team operation can run West Coast to East Coast in 48 hours, and that's $12,000 in 2 days. I mean, if you look at these, Amazon runs the crud out of you day and night, and anyone that's ever done them, let's look at this one. So this is a 5-day tour, and for $142, that's a whole lot of drops. Basically, each one of these is a drop and hook, and so here we go from Kansas to Utah. You got to hope the weather doesn't get you, but okay. So then you go from Utah to Oregon. That's all in the hills. You're gonna burn fuel on this one. You're gonna burn a lot of fuel. Going to Utah, you're gonna be uphill, downhill. Getting to Oregon, same thing. So here you go from Oregon to another place in Oregon, and then you grab another one from Oregon to Stockton. There's hills between there as well. So now you're in California paying that wonderful, $3.85 a gallon fuel. There you do a little local move in Stockton. So you go from SCK9 to SMF3. So that's a short little run. You're spending more time doing drop and hook than you are putting in miles. So then you go again from Stockton back up to Oregon to Salem. So there you go, burning fuel, going that up and downhill stuff. Then you come back to California again to Newark. So back through all the hills. By the way, you need to have a permit to go to Oregon because they don't honor IFTA. They're I think the only state that doesn't. So now you come back south to Chino. I've been to this location in Chino. They're pretty good. But of course, it's a drop and hook, so what's the big deal? And then, you go from Chino to Aurora, Colorado, so you're going back up into the hills, burning that fuel. Then from Aurora, you go back to Kansas. Let's look at the dollar on this. I don't know if I've shown you guys this before, but they give you a breakdown of what you're going to get paid. And so, if you look at the bottom number, it's $8,200. But the way they break it down, so we're looking at the very top one, and it says base rate is $1311.65. As a fuel surcharge, they're giving you $228, and your total is $1,500 for that part of the tour. Then your very next one is a base rate of $946 with a fuel surcharge of $1.64. So this is the cool thing about the way Amazon breaks it down. They kind of tell you what you're getting for fuel surcharge and even tolls. When you're back east and you get those tolls, Amazon routes you the fastest way to get from point A to point B, and a lot of times it includes, they're going to stick you on those tolls. If you're cutting across Dallas, their schedule is for you to run through the tolls and not sit in traffic. And so, by the time you add all these fuel surcharges up, your price per mile on the base rate is actually lower. And here you can see there is a $3.25 toll charge. So it's $8,000. It's $8,000 for this particular load. But you're going to be moving a whole lot of miles. It's 6,000 miles. I mean, obviously, that rate is just not worth it. And why teams are cheaper than, a solo? I mean, here's a load right above it. Granted, it's just a one-way shot, but why not take a load like this? It's almost 2,000 miles, and you get $2,600. And I think Amazon is screwed up on their schedule here again. So they're saying, just to show you guys what I'm talking about, 1,896 miles. That's what they have figured your trip is going to take. Right below that, where it says 6H32M, that is how much time they are anticipating based on their schedule. So they're saying you can go from Minnesota to Moreno Valley, which is in Southern California. It's in the Inland Empire for those that aren't familiar. So they're saying you can load up Tuesday, December 22nd at 1:30 in the morning, and they'll be expecting you in Ontario the same day at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, the beauty in when they do this is when you get there a day later, 2.5 days later, because it's 1,800 miles. So, my math, if you're not too heavy, you do about 800 miles a day, just under that. So if you say 700 miles a day, that's a 3-day trip. So By the time you get to Ontario, ONT8, what's going to happen is they're going to cancel your appointment for unloading. This is a provided. Never mind. You won't have a live unload. You're just going to show up, drop it, and run. But what that'll do is it'll ding your performance score. They're going to show you showed up late, and even if you call, if you contest, if you do all that, it's still going to show up on your performance score. And another feature that Amazon brought back, sorry for the scrolling up and down, making y'all dizzy and everything. I'm going to put it at the top so you can tell what I'm talking about. Where did one-day payments go? So apparently in the past, Amazon used to pay, you would finish a load, and if you would finish it by a certain time during that day, the next business day at midnight, the money was deposited to your account. And so people are starting to leave Amazon. Myself, I don't do much with them anymore. I almost booked a load a couple of days ago with them. It was very well paid. It was 430 miles, and it was like 670 something a mile. I almost took it, and my dispatcher found me something comparable, and he had already committed to it. So instead of looking bad with that broker, I just took it. But anyway, so Amazon's trying to bring back some incentives to keep us around. The 1-day payment. So now what they're saying is get paid for work faster with 1-day payments by improving your on-time and acceptance performance scores to 95 or 90+%. And so basically it's the same formula they use for you to see their early access loads. And so if you maintain a 90% percentile, is that not proper grammar there? If you stay in the 90 percentile performance-wise, they will automatically kick in 1-day payments, which is, that's pretty advantageous right there, compared to doing a factoring service where they're going to charge you a percentage. Right now, what Amazon does, anything you finish by Saturday at midnight. So if right now I go grab a last-minute load, go haul it, and I finish it by midnight, I'll have my money direct deposited by Friday, which probably means they'll be depositing Thursday or Wednesday because Friday is a holiday. And so that's their typical pay program. But what they've done is they brought back the 1-day, which I guess is something that used to happen before my time with them. But another carrier told me that was what he was accustomed to. Then when they switched to the weekly, he said it wasn't that big a deal because he had enough revenue stream going with them. And like myself, he since shied away a little bit from Amazon, mainly because of these rates. So anyway, let's look at like a direct market. I know you guys always have that curiosity. These are the searches I've done most recent. So let's look at Dallas and see what you power only boys got over there. I do have my filter set at 1,000 because that's just how I do it. But so, here's a one-way going to Oklahoma City, 185 miles for $1.42 a mile. There's another $1.42, $1.42. It just seems like they're right now counting on us. Oh, and I've got some 26-foot box trucks in there. Let me remove that because you guys are power only, and that's your curiosity isn't about box vans. You guys want to know about power only. And so still $1.42, and again, $1.45 for teams. Why are they taking teams for granted? Granted, here's 9,000 bucks in 5 days, and I think that's how they're getting some of us. You look at this, and it's only 6 drops, so 9,000 bucks in 6 days. That's not bad money, except for the fact that you're you're doing 6,000 miles to do that. So you're running, each driver is doing about 500 miles a day, plus, plus, dropping and hooking. So here you go from Fort Worth to Tucson. Then from Tucson, you run to Salt Lake City, which, there you go, burning fuel going up and downhill. And you got to hope you don't get snowed in. Then from there, you cut across to Henderson, Nevada. For those that don't know, Henderson's basically a sister city to Vegas. So you're going to the Vegas area. So from Henderson, wow, you're going to Orlando, Florida. Yeah, hammer down on that one. That's a roll. That is a long roll. And then from Orlando, Florida, you come back to Fort Worth. Let's look at that on the map. Yeah. Yeah. So you get $8,000 for that. I'm just not sure. Well, it's not that I'm not sure. I know I don't want that. I do have the curiosity what you guys think. Leave comments below. Do you guys run teams, and would you run them for that? This week was the exception, and next week will probably be the same. But you can find load board loads leaving Southern California, heading to the East Coast, to Georgia, South Carolina. We've taken some to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, and we're getting close to $12,000 for team loads. Your single drivers not bad paid, $9,000 to $10,000. I think last week what we were seeing was stuff in the sevens for single drivers. But like I said, it's that week, right? It's that week right before Christmas. I'm sure next week's going to be bad also. But I'm curious for those of you guys that do teams on the load boards, on regular load boards. I don't see stuff this cheap. There's at least $177. That's a little better. But of course, they're wanting you to run right up until the 23rd. Not sure most would want to do that. Anyway, I just figured I'd share this. I got a lot of comments and private messages from people. And if anyone's got the curiosity, I'm not leasing trucks onto my authority. I kind of had an experience a while back with a lease operator and a really bad accident. And so because of our oil field operations, my insurance is really high per power unit. And they've made me sign a disclosure clause. Basically, if I'm going to add lease operators, I need to inform them, and they need to approve of the lease operator beforehand. And then it comes with a premium, or it's almost like an endorsement. They charge me more to add lease operators. It's kind of jacked. Anyway, maybe I'll do one more market. And let's just do Rialto, leaving Southern California. That should be a decent paying market. And of course, these are locals. Again, that $1.21. It seemed like before we had to look for $1.21, and right now everything on there is $1.21. But of course, it's a Saturday, and I think a bunch of people have already booked loads running through the weekend because they anticipated they're going to go away. There's $1.73 for some teams. Aurora, Colorado for $1.80. Wow, Vegas for under $500. That's pretty cheap. Um, Pennsylvania for $5,100, and they're giving you, well, it's 3 days. Man, that's doable. Um, 3 days, $5,100. That hits my mark of doing 1,000 a day, but it's a lot of miles. And for under $2, leaving Southern California, that number should be $7,500 in my opinion. But I guess it is a power only, so that'll be a little cheaper. I don't know. I'd be on the fence about that. Again, I'm curious what you guys think. Is this really the market for power only? Are your power only loads that much cheaper? It seems to me like for the $400 a month I pay to rent a handful of trailers, I generate a lot more revenue with my own. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I'm going to post this in the Power Only group. Put the comment there or here on the channel. I'm curious. Here at least you have $2 a mile. So $2 a mile, Rialto to Colorado. Then you got Colorado back to Vegas. Then Vegas back to Miraloma. Then Miraloma back over to Rialto. I suppose wouldn't really be interested in it. I'm not sure why Amazon, California is an expensive place to live. It's expensive to fuel. Everything about California is expensive. And so I don't get how guys in California are running for the same rates as guys in Dallas. Dallas is obviously cheaper to own a home. Fuel's definitely cheaper. I think the last time I was through there, I paid $1.89 a gallon. And in California, the cheapest I have found fuel is $2.65. I think I got $2.65 in Central California off the 5. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys are aware, but Amazon's been doing short-term contracts, and these things are also pretty cheap. Let's see if I can't filter real quick. I'm not really sure why my screen is jumping that way. So for the week right after Christmas, December 27th through January 2nd, this is a solo one driver, which pretty much means you're a single driver, and solo one means you'll be out for a 1-day block at a time, or a 1-day shift. So they call it a 13-hour block. It's a power only thing, and so you provide one tractor. There will be 5 blocks, and for the day they pay you $7.16. So if you multiply that by the 5 work days, you're going to get $35.80 for the week. Guys, I can make that. I can make that in a couple days. I guess the advantage is you're home in your own bed every night. You come home to mama. I guess that has some value to it, but there's another one, same price. There's another solo one, same price. I think that's all that's going to be left, because a lot of them have been contracted already. But these are Amazon's short-term contracts. I think Amazon feels like they can get away with giving them to us cheaper, and in exchange, you're going to have work all week. And I have talked to people that kind of agree with that. They're happy to know they're going to have work, every day. but these are all priced pretty much the same. Yeah, they're all solo ones. I think the solo twos are done, and I think it just refreshed. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys a quick glimpse at that. Their contracts. Um, Ever since they offered them, I wasn't real impressed with them. I didn't want to jump on that. I didn't think there was anything worth looking at there. But it's a Saturday. I guess you got to expect there not to be a whole lot. The scraps at the bottom of the barrel. But I'm home. I'm awake. Can't fall back asleep. And I'm seriously thinking about naming my YouTube channel Crackhead Trucker, because I always make these videos between 2 and 5 in the morning. Anyway, I hope drivers are home. I hope you guys are safe. Those of you working at getting home, hopefully you don't got to do none of this $1.21 a mile to get home. I think I did okay. My dispatch did find me. They find me something really decent. A couple 100 miles. I'm gonna do that on Monday. If he doesn't find anything else, I'll be good with spending a little time with the kids and doing that kind of stuff. If he finds me something that too good to pass up, over $1,500 for a couple 100 miles, I'll take that. I can get that done in a few hours and be home with $1,500 to my name. Anyways, guys, take care. Thanks for watching.